All right, North Texas takes on Texas San Antonio, and that'll be a 7:30 Eastern kickoff on Friday, December 2nd, 2022. UTSA's -8.5, total 67. And if you like the mean green of North Texas to win this one outright, they're plus 255 for some money line cash. I'm 2-0 in my last two college football tier package bets on my website, and I'll include a link for that package in the description section below. Just remember, guys, if you sign up for that package here, you're going to get access to that membership for the next 30 days. And of course, as an added bonus, you're also going to get access to all of my cheaper memberships absolutely free. They'll be included with your purchase. Now, North Texas has played some pretty terrible defense this season. They're allowing over 30 points a game, and they're in the bottom 10 in the country in total yards allowed. They're facing an UTSA team who's scoring 38 points a game themselves, and they throw for over 305 yards per contest. Now, quarterback Frank Harris, he's ninth in college football with over 3,500 passing yards. Meanwhile, wide receiver Zachary Franklin's also just 44 yards shy of 1,000 for the year. He's got 11 TD grabs on the season. Now, the 10-2 Roadrunners haven't lost a game since September 17th. When it comes to the injury report, Smith is questionable. Sharp and Brady are out for UTSA. Meanwhile, for North Texas on the other side, their combination of excellent running backs in Attaway and Adeyi, they're both listed as questionable to play for them. When it comes to the total, North Texas went 70% to the over in their last 10. Meanwhile, UTSA saw overs against the likes of UTEP, UAB, and Middle Tennessee. I'm going to lean toward Texas San Antonio, -8.5, over 67. Next matchup, little Pac-12 action. I'm talking about Utah taking on USC, 8 o'clock Friday night. USC is -2.5, total 66 and a hook. And even though USC's favored in this one, they played some pretty shaky defense this year. They're allowing over 405 yards per game. They also have the 110th ranked secondary in the nation. They're facing a Utah offense who scores just about 40 points a game themselves. They're also in the top 20 in total yards per game. Cameron Rising's thrown for 22 touchdowns, and he's been sacked only 7 times. When it comes to defensive play, Cole Bishop and R.J. Hubert, they've combined for over 130 tackles. Now, as a defensive unit as a whole, the Utes are currently in the top 20 in the nation in fewest total yards allowed. When it comes to the injury report, Utah's relatively healthy at the moment. Meanwhile, for USC, Jackson, Rodriguez, Otey, and Allen are out for them. When it comes to the total, the Trojans saw their last 6 straight get over the number. Meanwhile, Utah saw overs against the likes of Colorado, UCLA, and this very USC team. That was actually a 43-42 victory over the Trojans back on October 15th. I'm going to lean toward Utah plus 2.5, over 66 and a hook. Next matchup, it is going to be Kansas State taking on TCU, 12 o'clock Saturday. TCU's the 3-point favorite, total 62. And as good as the Horned Frogs have been, well, undefeated TCU, they haven't been impregnable on defense. These guys are 74th in the country in total yards allowed. This D is also giving up nearly 150 yards a game on the ground. They're facing one of the better rushing teams in the country in Kansas State. These guys are gaining over 210 yards a game on the ground, and they have a top 20 rushing offense. Now, Deuce Vaughn, he's just 5 yards shy of 1,300 for the year. He's also gaining nearly 5.5 yards a carry. When it comes to defensive play, Felix Anudike Uzoma has 7.5 sacks on the year and a couple of forced fumbles. Now, no real shock here, guys. The Wildcats are allowing only 19 points a game on defense. When it comes to the total, K-State went 6-3 to the over in their last 9. Meanwhile, TCU went 60% to the over in their last 10. I'm going to lean toward Kansas State plus 3, over 62. Next matchup, Toledo taking on Ohio, 12 o'clock East. The Toledo Rockets are -2, totals 55. And the reason why Toledo's favored in this one is the injury to Ohio's starting quarterback, and of course that is Curtis Rourke. He is currently out for the year, and he was actually responsible for making Ohio a top 15 passing offense. Now, they're going to have to go with their backup, and they're facing a Toledo secondary who's actually quite good. The Rockets are allowing only 187 yards a game through the air. They rank 19th in the country in that particular category. Quinyon Mitchell, he's got 5 interceptions from that secondary, a couple of pick sixes for the corner. Meanwhile, Dallas Gant and Deontay Johnson, they have nearly 200 tackles between the both of them. Now, when it comes to offensive production, the Rockets are scoring over 33 points a game. When it comes to the total, Toledo saw 4 out of their last 7 get over the line. Meanwhile, Ohio went 60% to the over in their last 10. I'm going to lean toward Toledo -2 over 55. Next ball game, little Sun Belt action. I'm talking about Coastal Carolina taking on Troy, 3:30 Eastern start time. Troy's the 10-point favorite, totals 48. And the reason why this line is so high is the absence of Grayson McCall. The Coastal Carolina quarterback is out with a foot injury. When it comes to defensive play, the Chants have one of the worst secondaries in the country. They're actually in the bottom 10 in pass defense. They're facing a Troy team who won their last 9 straight themselves. They also have one of the toughest defenses in the country. They're allowing only 16 points a game, and they also have a top 25 rush defense. Carlton Marshall has a team best 112 tackles. Meanwhile, TJ Jackson and Richard Jabuner, they have 14 sacks between the both of them. Now, injury-wise, McDonald, Medina, and Barber are out for Troy. Meanwhile, for Coastal, once again, starting quarterback Grayson McCall is sitting this one out with a foot. When it comes to the total, Coastal went 4-3 to the under in their last 7. Meanwhile, Troy saw 5 out of their last 7 stay under the line themselves. I'm going to lean toward Troy -10, under 48. Next contest, Fresno State taking on Boise, 4 o'clock Eastern start time. Boise State's the 4-point favorite, totals 53.5. And even though Boise's been solid, it's Fresno who's on a 7-game winning streak, and they've played some incredibly tough defense during that span. The Bulldogs currently have a top 25 pass defense, and they're allowing only 20 points a game. Now, David Perales, he's 5th in the country with 10.5 sacks. Meanwhile, Lavelle Bailey and Malachi Langley, they have over 130 tackles. Now, they're facing a Boise team who's little threat throwing the football. They're 109th in the nation in passing offense. They also failed to cover in 2 out of their last 4 ball games. One of those failures was an outright loss to BYU.